saya Tingkilia, lulusan Bangkit 2021. Saat ini saya bekerja sebagai External Code Reviewer di Decoding Indonesia.
Saya Adi, lulusan Bangkit 2021. Saat ini saya bekerja sebagai Data Science Fellow di Jakarta AI Research.
Saya Bagus Mas, lulusan Bangkit 2021. Sekarang saya bekerja sebagai Data Scientist di Bisa AI.
Halo, saya Dharma, salah satu lulusan Bangkit tahun 2021. Saat ini saya bekerja sebagai External Code Reviewer di Decoding.
Halo, saya Alia, lulusan Bangkit 2021. Saat ini saya bekerja sebagai Culture Engagement Analyst Intern di CMB Niaga.
Halo teman-teman semua, saya Harisno, alumni Bangkit program 2021. Saat ini saya menjabat sebagai CEO dari Jagawana. Dan juga saya bekerja sebagai Data Science di AI Tracking Working Group, sebuah tim riset dari Universitas Gadjah Mada.
Halo, saya Tirsa, lulusan Bangkit 2021. Saat ini saya bekerja sebagai Mobile dan Cloud Developer di Nongsa Digital Park, Batam.
Hai, saya Timotius, lulusan program Bangkit 2021. Saat ini saya berperan sebagai co-founder dan software engineer di Bacara, salah satu top 15 Carson Project Bangkit 2021 yang menerima pendanaan inkubasi dari Dikti dan Google.
Berkat Bangkit, saya dan tim telah membuat Jagawana, sebuah startup yang berfokus pada pencegahan penebangan ilegal yang mendapatkan pendanaan dari proses inkubasi Bangkit.
Terima kasih Bangkit, kesempatan belajar selama 6 bulan yang saya peroleh berhasil mengantarkan saya menjadi lulusan dengan predikat distinction di Bangkit 2021.
Bersama tim, saya bisa memberikan dampak di bidang kesehatan dengan membuat aplikasi deteksi dini penyakit demensia yang sudah tersedia di Play Store.
Sekarang saya siap memberikan dampak di bidang kelautan Indonesia dengan machine learning, dengan menjadi bagian dari tim pengembangan AI untuk terumbu karang bersama BRIN dan juga LIPI.
Saya telah berhasil tersertifikasi sebagai Google Associate Android Developer dan siap memberikan kontribusi terbaik di bidang teknologi untuk Indonesia dan dunia.
Terima kasih Bangkit, sekarang saya resmi menjadi Certified TensorFlow Developer.
Sekarang saya menjadi talenta digital dengan kemampuan unggul di bidang cloud computing dan siap memberikan dampak positif pada Indonesia.
Bersama tim, saya bisa menciptakan sebuah produk aplikasi penerjemah bahasa isyarat Indonesia ke dalam bentuk teks dan suara secara langsung.
Terima kasih Bangkit.
Dulu aku sering bertanya, apakah ini masa depanku? Apakah hari demi hari akan kuhabiskan seperti ini? Jauh dari mimpi-mimpiku. Dan akhirnya, kuputuskan untuk ubah pertanyaan ini menjadi tantangan. Untuk mendorong diri sendiri lebih keras lagi. Untuk membahagiakan mereka yang tak pernah lelah memberikan dukungan. Untuk mereka yang terus mengingatkanku kalau asal-usulku bukanlah sebuah batasan. Namun, perjuangan terkadang datang bersama rintangan. Tuntutan untuk mengorbankan kuliah demi memenuhi kebutuhan. Ada saatnya di mana aku sempat merasa putus asa. Sampai akhirnya aku menemukan jalan. Dukungan ibu yang membuat jalanku semakin terang. Mendekatkanku ke masa depan yang aku impikan. Perjuanganku pun dimulai. 900 jam kuhabiskan menggali ilmu, memahami kode demi kode untuk mulai berinovasi. Awal perjalanan untuk pengalaman yang tak terlupakan. Bersama para mentor yang bantu tunjukkan arah kemana aku harus melangkah. Membangun kepercayaan diriku untuk berdiskusi dan bersuara. 6 bulan yang mempersiapkanku untuk kembali ke kelas, meraih beasiswa dan mendapat gelar sarjana, menyelesaikan pendidikan yang sempat tertunda, dan yang dulu mengharuskanku susah payah mencari lowongan kerja, sekarang kesempatan datang dengan sendirinya. Kini, aku sudah tidak lagi bertanya, apa ini masa depanku? Karena aku percaya kalau pilihanku membentuk masa depanku, membawaku ke karir impian yang dulu cuma jadi hayalan. Saat jatuh ke titik terendah, Aku harus terus bangkit. Dan satu pesanku, ubah segala pertanyaan jadi tantangan. Beranikan diri untuk mengejar mimpi.
Okay, hello guys. Good afternoon, everyone. How are you guys doing today? I hope you guys are very, very excited for this second guest speaker session that is about to start. But first of all, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Rianson. You can call me Rian or RJ. I am a Bangkit 2022 graduate in machine learning. I currently work on a project in Universitas Indonesia, and I am also a machine learning mentor for this year's Bangkit. Okay, and let's see how many of you guys are here today. And there are, wow, over 900 of you have joined us in this beautiful session here. I want you guys to just fill up the chat, all right? I want you guys to spam emojis, encourage each other, okay? I want all of you guys to show your excitement for this session that is about to start. Okay, and yeah. I can see the chat's coming already. Thank you so much, guys, once again for being here in the session. And okay, before we start, I also want to basically give all of you guys an insight of what going to come in this session. So basically, what we're going to talk about now is about the leadership. You guys can see in the title already, like how to prepare to be a future leader. And I believe this session will be very, very insightful to all of you here. And I will also like to talk about our speaker for today. Maybe some of you guys, maybe almost all of you guys have already heard or used Dana, the e-wallet application. And so, of course, you guys have already used it. Dana is actually really beneficial for me personally to store my money, to do payments here and there. And I believe that you guys have also found the same thing about Dana. And our speaker today, he's the Chief Technical Officer at Dana Indonesia, Mr. Norman Sasono. Good afternoon, Mr. Norman.
Hello. Can you hear me well, RJ?
Yeah, I can hear you well, Mr. Norman. Everything's okay.
All right.
Okay, so before we start the session, I will also encourage you to ask in the comment section if you guys want to, with the hashtag ask, hashtag ASK. You can start your question with the hashtag, and you just can type out your questions in the chat box. And since Mr. Norman is already here, I will just give him the stage now. Mr. Norman, you can start your presentation. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, RJ. Let me try to present my content.
Okay.
Second. All right. Can you see my screen?
Okay.
Okay, I think I'm having some technical difficulties here. Hold on. Okay, let me try other ways. Okay, still doesn't work. Hold on, yeah.
Okay.
Somehow it doesn't work.
Okay, Mr. Roman. Okay, I will try to assist with the Bangkit team.
Yes, I'm clicking the present. I click the share screen. Click share screen. Unlock the screen by selecting the lock in the bottom left corner. It doesn't work. Okay. Maybe I can send my presentation to the team.
Yeah, you can share the presentation link, and the Bangkit team will help you present it.
Okay, hold on. Yeah. Somehow it doesn't work. I've sent the slides to Sasha.
Okay. And for those of you who is currently watching today, I hope you guys can stay and keep the spirit alive. Okay, we're going to start soon, I promise, guys. And let me clear things up in the comment section. For you guys who want to ask, you can use the hashtag ASK. So that's #ask. You can just type your questions straight away without typing your name or having to do anything else. You can just type your question and then use the hashtag ASK or ask. Thank you. Okay, and 1 second here. So
Hold on.
while we wait for the slide, okay. Yeah, okay. So we still have to wait for the slide set. So Mr. Norman, maybe you can share with us what is basically the main idea of what you're going to share today. Maybe the main point, so that the audience can keep being excited for this session.
Yeah, I just sent the slide that I have prepared to Sasha. Nanti, can you try to present that, Sasha? Because somehow it doesn't work in my computer today. Yeah, it's just one of those days. Yeah. Let me know if you have received it, Sasha. So basically, what I want to share to everybody is about leadership, how it is an attribute, it is a skill set that is required that we all have to become successful in anything that we do in life. It will help us successful in our study in uni. It will make us successful in our career as we enter the professional world. Either it is building your own startups, or whether you're working for a startup or you're working for a company or you're working for anything, leadership skills will really help you to climb up the ladders and advancing your skill to the next level. So okay, Sasha, I've heard that yeah, you got a slide. Maybe you can try to present it. The first thing that I want to share, yeah, it's about leadership. And okay, the slide is here. All right, cool. So I was trying to make the content to be as practical as possible so that it's not just something that is meta, but something that you can just learn and apply this on your day to day, and also can enable you to equip yourself with the necessary leadership skill that immediately you can apply. So that's why I put the title here as a Leadership 101 Practical Guide for First Time Tech Leaders. Why there is an emphasis on first time? Maybe you're yeah you're still in uni, right? And you will be graduating soon, and you will enter the workforce to become a professional. And then later maybe you will step up and become a leader in the organization that you are working on, starting with the field leader first. And then why tech? It's because I know Bangkit has program in data science, has program in mobile, has program in the uh, software engineering in general as well. So what I'm trying to highlight in this session as well is that uh, leading a tech team once you're entering the workforce and become a leader in tech is a bit different, because there is a certain unique characteristics of people in tech, people in that is in the role of software engineering, or in the role of data scientist, or in the role of SRE, DevOps, and so forth. So I will cover that along the way. So thank you. The slide is here. Can we move on to the next slide? So the first thing that I would like to highlight is that uh, ma- this picture has been used many times. I think everyone has seen it. So this is the list of the top 10 skills in 2025 defined by the World Economic Forum. And there are a bunch of skills there grouped into four major group. And then one of the area, if you look at the list of the skill set, is leadership and social influence. So among all other skills, from the analytical thinking, active learning, complex problem solving, critical thinking, and so forth, down to the usage of technology, there is one specific aspect about self-management, about working with people, working with others, and it comes down to leadership and social influence. So World Economic Forum agrees, if you have this skill set, you will become successful in the years to come. Before this is being defined itself, I must say that leadership skill has always been a very critical skill that everyone should have to become successful. So let's move on to the next slide. The first thing of course, next is the agenda. We will explore these 5 things. We need to understand that leadership and management are two distinct, very different things, so that we have a clarity what is leadership and what is management. Of course, the two is required to become a successful leader or a successful manager, but leadership and management is two different things, and we need to understand that, so that we know when we actually apply leadership and when we actually apply management, and how we should combine the two. And then I will touch a bit about the human dynamics of tech team, because tech people, data scientists, software engineer, and the other roles in the tech has a specific characteristics that needs to be handled uniquely. And then I will talk about how you're going to apply the leadership and management skills in all directions when you're going to manage down to your team, manage up to your manager, and manage laterally to your peers. And then I will define the people manager key competencies and then the other important skill set. The first one, we will see how leadership and management are two different things. Let's move on to the next slide. Yeah, next. Okay. So I will touch about leadership itself. Leadership yield what is the so-called inspirations and change. It's about how a person can articulate a vision that you're going to move from point A to point B, to a situation that we are today, to a better situation that we envision. Uh, so it can be anything. As an example, Dana, we envision that we will have a cashless society in Indonesia sometimes in the future. And this is where we are today. So from that vision, we need to define the things that we need to do, define a roadmap until we reach that vision. So in whatever you do, if you want to become a leader, you need to have a vision, and then you need to be articulate that vision, and then you're not just communicating that vision, but you actually taking initiative and stepping up to execute that vision and make people inspired by the steps that you do in order to achieve that vision. So it's something that comes from within yourself, how it drives you, how you become relentless, and you really have the ownership on the things that you want to achieve. Leadership create impact, and as the other point that I put in the last part here is to inspire. So at the end of the day, leadership is about creating inspiration and creating change from point A to point B, whatever the situation is or whatever the vision is that you want to achieve. So it's about the inspiration that you distill to other people so that you can move their muscles to together achieve the goal that you want to achieve. So it's about inspiration, how you can be seen, can be perceived as someone that is inspirational, that everyone will follow you, achieving the goal that you have envisioned and you have articulated. It's about that. And there are many different style of leadership. Some leader are, have this very charismatic traits. Some people have more analytical traits. Some people have the uh, very good communication skill, and so on and so forth. I'm not really going to talk about the style, different style of leadership, because there is no right or wrong, and every people is different. What I want to emphasize is that leadership yield inspirations and change by whatever means. So you need to understand, to be able to move the muscles of other people to achieve the goal that you envision, you need to be able to inspire other people. So that's leadership. How do you create inspiration, and how from that inspiration everyone will follow you and make the change that you expect happens. That is leadership. Now we move on to management. On the next slide, this is management. It's basically something that is mechanics. It's about process. It's about methods. It's about organizing. It's about execution rhythm. So the output of the management is optimization. So again, it's very different from leadership, where it yields inspiration and change, while management yield optimization. So management is needed because there are constraints. If there are no constraint on resources, there are no constraint on budget, there are no constraint on time, we can just basically execute whatever vision we want to execute uh, the way we want it, because we have unlimited resource, right? Because we don't have unlimited resource, because of we have constraints, then we need to do optimization, we need to do prioritization, we need to do planning, we need to do organizing, and then we execute, and then we monitor the execution, whether it is according to the plan or not. If it is according to the plan, we just continue execute. If it's not according to the plan, we make corrective actions. So basically it's just about creating efficiency on the execution. So how we make things more efficient, with a better quality, faster, and with the cost that is optimal. So again, leadership and management are two different things. One yield inspirations and chain, one yield optimization. So to become a successful leader, you are not just going to be successful just relying by the leadership aspects on its own, because people may be inspired by you, people maybe start to be driven and follow you to execute a vision, but the execution itself may not be really efficient, it's not optimized, there is no organization, things becomes all over the place, and then you already run out of resources or budget or time before the vision is actually executed. Or the other way around, you really have a good organizing skill, you can really do management very well, create a framework, create a process, a methods, SOPs that people can just follow along with the executions. But if you don't have leadership skills, people will not be inspired, people not really going to follow you because they are inspired by you. People just basically doing their job with the best effort that they can. There is no drive and there is no ownership and there is no relentless there, because they not necessarily believe in you. It's just a matter of executing things. So we need both aspect, leadership itself and management, to become a successful leaders that actually deliver outcomes or results. Next slide. Yeah. When we talk about leadership or management, people always think it is about managing or leading other people. Or there are many people out there, one, two, three, four, five, and so on and so forth, that we lead and manage so that we can execute, create change, create impact, or achieve vision that we want. Yeah. But what I want to emphasize here is that leadership and management skills actually not necessarily only applicable if you are a people manager that lead or manage other people. Even if you are just by yourself on your own as an individual contributor, it's just you in the organization. Maybe you are a data scientist on your own, or you are a software engineer that work in a team, and you are individual contributor, you don't have a team that you lead, you still need the leadership and management skills. So disregard whether you are leading a team or not, you need the skills. Disregard even you're not a developer lead, you're not a project manager, you're not a head of engineering, you are not a VP engineering, you are not a CTO, you are just an individual contributor, data scientist or software engineer or network engineer or project manager or scrum master or whatever it is, that maybe you are just you on your own, you still need this despite your position, role, title of your job does not have titles that related to manager. So why? It's because leadership and management starts from yourself. It's about how you lead and manage yourself first, then you can lead and manage others. So it is very important. You will not be effectively lead and manage others if you cannot lead and manage yourself first. Say you want others to work hard, you want to drive them to work hard, but if you don't work hard yourself, then you will not be inspiring for the others. So you need to lead yourself first, manage yourself first, you need to have the discipline, you need to have the execution, and just like I said earlier, leadership yield inspirations and change. If you yourself are not inspired by you, then yeah, how can you like really becoming someone that is driven and relentless, try to create the impact and drive the change? So you need to lead yourself, manage yourself effectively as an individual, you need to deliver your results, you need to execute what you have to execute, you need to work hard, you need to be disciplined, you need to drive yourself effectively, then you can lead and manage others. So that is very important to be underlined. Next slide. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. So then how it is actually different if you are an individual contributor that don't have a team or people that you lead and manage, and then when you are a people manager that you actually have a team or people that you manage. As an example, I'm a CTO in Dana. I lead about 500 engineers there. So that's a lot of people. So how is it different if you are just an individual contributor compared to if you are a people manager? How you're going to apply leadership and management in these two different contexts? So the differentiator is actually just the scale. But anything that you do, the leadership and the management qualities and aspects are actually the same items. It's just individual contributor lead and manage yourself, while if you are a people manager, you lead and manage others. So if you are an individual contributor, you are responsible for your own feelings, your thoughts, your words, and actions. And you are accountable for your own outcomes or results of your work. You take ownership of your own results. So you have your own responsibilities or the things that you do, you have to execute. You are aware of how you feel about that, what is your thoughts, the words that you say or the action that you do. And at the end of the day, the organization that you are in will help you accountable on the results and outcomes that you have to deliver. On the other hand, if you are a people manager, you are aware of your team feelings, thoughts, words, and actions. So let's say you lead a team of 3 or 5 or 10 people, you need to be aware of their situation, their feelings, their thought, their words, their action, their responsibilities, the job or task of each individual and how they are actually executing it. And then the most important thing is that you are accountable for your team outcomes or result. You own your team results. So if your team does not deliver the outcomes or the results that is expected, then you are failing as a leader or as a manager of this team. So whatever assignments or goals that is needs to be done by your team, as the leader, you are the one accountable on the outcomes and the results. No excuses. If your team don't deliver, then you don't deliver as a leader. Simple as that. So as an individual contributor, yeah, you're responsible for your own tasks, and you are accountable for your own results and outcomes. But if you are a people manager, you know exactly the distributions of the work of each of the team member, but you are accountable for the outcomes of the total team, and you own the results of everyone in the team. Next slide. Yeah. So as a people manager now, so let's put in the context that you are actually leading and manage people at scale, that you have a team member or people that follow you or assigned to you, that you need to move their muscles to achieve the collective goals. You need to understand the human dynamics and also the scaling. Let's move on to the next slide. Yeah, next. This is what I want to share to you, that eventually, because in Bangkit you learn all things that related to tech, and then eventually, let's say when you are graduating, you will work in the field of tech, and then you will have roles in tech, and maybe will become a leader of a team that consists of tech people. And leading tech people, as I said earlier, is not necessarily the same when you are leading different occupations or different professionals outside tech. So some examples of the roles in the tech team are SDE, software development engineer, or SDET, software developer engineer in test, or QA engineers, project manager, data engineer, data analyst, data scientist, data quality, data product, DevOps engineer, SRE or site reliability engineer, system engineer, data center engineer, network engineer, database administrator, security professionals, and so on. So these are the set of roles of tech people. And then if we move on to the next slide, there is a survey that is being done by Stack Overflow. So they ask a lot of questions and they make conclusion that what is it exactly that drives tech team. So you need to understand this intrinsic motivation so that you know which button that you actually need to press so that you can really move the muscles of your team member. So tech people really value the technology that they are working with. So they are really into the language and frameworks and the tools that they are working with. So they may be very passionate in data science. They may be very passionate in Python, in iOS development with Swift, in Kotlin, or in Golang if it's backend, or he's into network, or he is into cloud computing whatsoever. Cloud computing, some guys may really be favoring AWS or GCP or Azure and so on and so forth. So you need to really understand that tech people really driven into tech. And then office environment, company culture, yeah, flexible time, flexible schedule, and now I think the increase as well of the work from home and so on and so forth, as you can see all the other factors. Now, there is another survey from Stack Overflow in the next slide where you can see the, yeah, let's move on to the next slide. Yeah. What are the main reasons? Sorry, go back to previous slide first. Yes. So what are the main reasons of people in the tech role leaving a company and join other companies? So, of course, number one, the main driver is compensation, better salary, better package in some other company. And then next to it, what you can see is they want to work with new technologies. Maybe there are some companies where the company is still using an old tech stack, and yeah, the newer generation of these tech people may not be really interested into that, or even if it's the existing engineer in that company that using the old tech stack, they want to try, learn, and apply new and different tech stack. So it is what is driving them. So that they really emphasize the tech that they are working with, and then curious about other opportunities, and then maybe there are other leadership opportunities or growth bigger roles in some other companies. Next slide. Then who are this tech team? What is their persona in general? So tech team, just like you guys that learn all these technologies in this Bangkit program, you are smart people. You are doing intellectual work. You are enjoying solving problems. You are not scared by complexity. You are actually enjoying dealing with complexity, and you like to build stuff. You are highly attracted by technologies. You really find pride and joy working with cool new technologies. If you can create a certain algorithm, if you can create a data model, and so on and so forth. And then you are curious, eager to learn, always want to learn new things, and very driven to grow, especially to increase and improve your technical skills. And then there's a tendency that tech people put high values on independence, really preferring the flexible time schedule. You don't like time clocking, 9 to 5 kind of work. You may really, like praise remote work. You can work from anywhere, not necessarily have to come to the office. You want minimum supervision. You really hates micromanagement. And then you value company leadership. You value your colleagues, your culture are the things that are also important to you. And then tech team is also not really interested in the formalities, things like documentations, meetings, ceremonial, etc. So there is this specifics about the tech team in general. Next slide. So from this, then you need to understand the human dynamic of the tech. So you need to understand the sub persona of the tech team. So there are people that are blue, red, yellow, or green. Blue meaning the people is so detailed, analytic, and logical. Whether some person is really red, red means the people is really dominant, really stubborn, driven, to the point, direct, competitive, enjoy conflict, enjoy competitions. And then there are people that is yellow, whether this person is someone that is, like very social, happy, wanted to be involved, and so on and so forth. And then whether there are people in your team that is green, that wants to avoid conflicts, people that love harmony and everything should go along together, and so on and so forth. So you need to understand individually of your team member, what their nature, what is their style of communication. And as an example, if you have people that is red, or you yourself understand that you are a red person, and then someone come to you not talking to the point, straight to the things that are actually matters, there may be just a friction there. And then some red people maybe have they're okay with conflicts, but green people, they want harmony, and so forth. So you need to understand the sub persona. In tech, there's also the so-called Mort, Elvis, and Einstein. Mort usually are the people that love using graphical user interface, people that just love use the no code or low code platform. Elvis is someone that may have formal background in computer science, really understand algorithms, and but they also wants to be practical. They just want to use frameworks or libraries that is available. But then there are some guys that in tech team that uh, fall in the persona of an Einstein, where they always think they can always build the best framework and libraries and tools compared to that is existing in the market or in the open source. So they don't want to use those libraries. They want to create their own libraries and frameworks. So you need to understand that there are also these kind of people. Some people work best in the morning, some in the night. Some are just cowboys. They just work on their terms. Some are farmers. Some are heroes. Some are wallflowers. During meetings, they are very silent. They just follow along. They don't make comments. They don't raise concerns. They don't throw in ideas. They just silent, and then they just do. Some are just Mr. Know-it-all that try to dominate the whole conversation, try to talk all the time, and so forth. Yeah, and then there are guys that is just chill and just go along, and then there is some guys that when there is assignment, they become panic, paralyzed, hysterical, and so forth. So you need to understand these different sub persona, so that you as a leader can effectively apply different style of communications and different style of motivating and different style of direction when you want to move muscles of your team member. So as a leader, you need to understand the human dynamics of your team. This is what I said earlier, that you need to be aware of your team's feelings, thoughts, words, and action. And then you need to adjust the communication style, motivating style, and directing style to each certain individual so that you can be effective. Next slide. Yeah. So this is a fact that that's Reed Hastings, by the way, CEO of Netflix, and he mentioned this because the tech team nature of work are creative and inventive, deal with complexity, problem solving, and craftsmanship. He mentioned that in procedural work, let's say in a factory or administrative work, the best guy in that team probably just 2 times better than the average, while in tech or any creative inventive work, the best guys are usually 10 times better than the average. So you need to really understand this, meaning in tech, usually there will be engineers, data scientists, software engineer, SRE engineer, DevOps engineer that are just so good, technically so strong, and he can come up with the best algorithm, with the most efficient algorithm, codingnya bagus banget, canggih banget. This guy is just top notch, and this guy is just 10 times better than others. So you can throw complex problems to him, you can throw big problems to him, he can deliver result fast, and so on. But you need to be aware, sometimes this rock star also have a unique persona that you have to deal with as their leader. But then you need to understand that in creative inventive work like tech, the individual are 10 times better than the average. Next slide. Now that you understand the human dynamics, and then as a leader in an organization, chances are you will have a team that you lead, you will still have a manager that you report to going up, and then you have peers, same level leaders as you. As an example, in my case, I'm a CTO in Dana, I lead 500 engineers. That is down in my team, but I'm also having someone up, the CEO of Dana, that I report to. And then I have my peers, the other C-level in Dana, chief legal, chief financial, chief people, chief operating officer, and so on and so forth. So you need to understand that when you become a leader in an organization, a manager in an organization, you're not just managing down, but you need to be aware that you also need to manage up and manage laterally. Now let's talk about managing down. Yeah. So meaning you manage your own team member, the guys that report to you. Step one, if you're leading especially technical team, you need to earn their technical respect first. This is no excuses, no question asked. If you're non-technical, you will never get respect from your technical team member. Just forget it. You need to be somewhat technical as well. So earn that technical respect. The team knows that you understand the technical matters and things. If you're not, it will be very hard to win their respect. And if you cannot have their respect, it's hard to inspire them, it's hard to drive them, it's hard to move their muscles to work towards a goal. So ensure you need to have somewhat a certain level of technical skills or technical know-how. And then to build a team, you need to have a skill set on finding the right talents, how to hire, how to learn, how to make your team member better, get to know your team member, fix these functionalities, or if things are not in harmony between your team member. So basically, when you're managing down, you have two main tasks. The first one is you need to be able to create a clear, articulate, or vision, or objective, or goals that your team need to achieve. So that is the first thing of a leader. Because at the end of the day, you want to move their muscles to do the work to achieve a certain goal. You need to be very clear on what is actually the goal. Where are we going? Let's say in Dana, we need to achieve a certain number of active user. We need to achieve a certain number of revenue, or whatever the goal of your organization is, or specific for your team. You need to be able to articulate so that every single person in your team understand where we are going. Kalau mau berlayar, if you are sailing, you know the port that you are going to, so that you're not just thrown by the wind and the waves in the sea, you know exactly where you are going. So you need to create that clarity of the vision. And then, if they know exactly where to go, just let them execute and work to achieve that goal. And sometimes they face blockers, they face issues, they face things that blocks them from moving forward to achieve their goal. So what you need to do as the leader is to remove their blockers. As an example, uh, they need a new tool so that they can be more productive. How you can, let's say, source the tool, or let's say there is someone resigning in your team member and you are sort of manpower, and then to remove that blocker, either you work with HR to hire a new replacement as soon as possible, or figuring out how you can outsource, or whatever the blocker is. As a leader, you need to clear the path so that your team can move forward. And then the main outputs that you need to deliver as a leader is basically decisions. So the quality and the quantity of the decisions, because uh, the majority of the time, most of the time, it is your team member that is going to do the work, not necessarily you. But you need to ensure, once you create that vision clarity, you need to also be able to make decisions along the way on whether we are going to use open source or commercial software, whether we are going to use relational database, or are we going to use NoSQL, and so on and so forth. Technical decisions, management decisions, people decisions. The output is that you decide the things that your team will going to carry. And then there are several different approaches on the executions. So when there are tasks that you have distributed to each team member of you, and you want them to execute, you need to also understand whether the task is something they can do well, or they are new and cannot really do well, and there are things that only you can do. So basically there are 4 areas. The first one are the DIY, the do it yourself. So these are the set of things that only you can do. Maybe to do budget approval and so on and so forth. So basically it's the things that only you can do, because it is only you are authorized to do these things, or you only are the one that actually know the subject matter expertise in this field as well. And then there are tasks that your team is going to do themselves. So if the tasks are the things that your members cannot really do it well, as a leader, you need to play a role as a coach, where you're going to coach them, even sometimes as necessary, micromanage, so that they will not make unnecessary mistakes. So we don't favor micromanagement, but sometimes it is necessary so that it will be safe and minimize the error or the mistakes that may happen. But the point is, you coach the team and then make them better, give them more detailed instruction executions so that they can do well. And then if they already show that they are capable and can do well in certain tasks, let just them doing it. So you don't need to coach or micromanage. Just let them do it and you monitor. But there are times where maybe things are not aligned with the goals, or things are deviating from the tractions that you are expecting to happen. Then you make the necessary correction, tell the team, okay, the goal is not yet achieved, we are shortage this month or this week or this quarter, we need to make some necessary changes, and then let them execute again. And then there are things that your team can do very well and they do well every single time, then just let delegate. Yeah, let them do it. So this is how you can really scale to do more work and bigger work and more complex work, is when you have team member that can do things so well that you can just delegate the work so that they can just execute. So yeah, some things that you also need to do when you manage sound is to do facilitation, protection, performance reviews, process first outcome, deliver results, and also it's important to celebrate any small wins that your team has delivered. Next is on managing down, continued. So this is important. There will be time where you're going to lead people who are smarter than you, more technical than you. I have a team in Dana that reports to me. I have a couple of PhD in the field of data science and machine learning. I don't have a PhD, but I'm leading them. They report to me. So yeah, you need to acknowledge, you need to realize, you need to accept it is the case. They are smarter than me in that particular field. So you need to also understand that when you are a leader or a manager, you not necessarily have to be the smartest or the most knowledgeable guy in the room. It is very okay. Yeah, you are there are to just set the stage, articulate the vision, and then make them execute well, enable them, equip them, and remove the blockers. You know the strategy goals that needs to be achieved. You may have experience from other field or that can be applied as well. So don't be intimidated, yeah, but you have to know enough, because you cannot yeah, as I said earlier, you cannot get a respect if you don't know anything. You need to know something just enough to have a conversation with the person, but you as a leader may have a better understanding on the vision, the goals, and some strategic information that this person may not have. And then don't micromanage them. Let them do what they do best, because they may know better on the execution. You add value, you support, you remove blockers, and then most importantly, keep up. So you need to learn and get educated so that uh, you still have the respect from them. Gitu. Okay, next slide. Now managing up. So in my case, as a CTO, managing my CEO, or in your case later when you are in the workforce, you lead a team as a dev lead, a data scientist lead, and then you need to report to uh, dev manager or head of engineering or VP engineering or CTO. Yeah. So to be successfully managing up, step zero, the things that you need to do first are deliver results, so that no question asked. If you don't deliver results, if you don't achieve the goals, if you don't create the expected outcomes, you don't have credibility. As simple as that. There will be many questions asked, and your credibility as the leader of your team is questionable. So if you don't deliver results, your team don't deliver results, you will have a hard time. So ensure the first thing that you need to do, deliver result, deliver the outcome. And then you need to also understand your manager. Are they technical person or they're not technical person? What are their colors? Are they red people, blue people, green people, yellow people? What are their top priorities? What are their hot buttons? Sometimes there are things that not necessarily the organization priorities or goals, but it's sometimes it's something that is near or dear to them. As an example, our CEO really into UI and the UX and the aesthetics of the application. So this is one of his hot buttons, as an example. What is their preferred way for communication? Do they like to communicate formally in email, or they like face to face, or they like in chat? And then how often you want to communicate with them? What kind of level of details that you also want to discuss with them? You need to also understand these things so that you can communicate well with your manager. This is not just about what you do. Maybe you do very well, you deliver result, But if you don't communicate well to your manager, they may not know that in a necessary detail level that you would expect. So the perception of manager about you and your team is very important. Then you need to also manage that perception. Yeah, so this is also about how you are perceived by the manager. Not, I'm not saying that you just need to become a smooth talker and manage the communication well, but if you don't deliver actual results, yeah, uh, eventually he or she will find out. Gitu. Yeah, what you need to do is deliver results and manage that communication well, so that the perceived uh, thinking about you and your team and your results are really aligned with reality. Again, you need to report and communicate well. You need to understand what format, what timing, what level of details that your manager prefer. Yeah. Terus, if you have an ask or support, raise that ask. Or if during a communication it's just an FYI for your information only, manager, then tell them it's just an FYI. If it's a heads up or about an alarm or warning of things that are coming, then you just need to highlight bahwa this is a heads up. So make a very clear communication on what you are expecting as an outcome of the communication. So there are times when you want to escalate things. Let's say there are issues in the execution, and then you face a problem. Uh, it can be a technical problem, it can be people problem, it can be whatever problem. The thing is, when you want to escalate issues to your manager, you need to ensure first you have a clear problem definition. What is actually the problem? Quantify that problem, measure that problem. So basically, show the expectation is here, but in reality, it is here. So there is a gap between expectation and reality. Then it is a problem, and then you need to be able to show that as a something that is quantifiable. As an example, when we launch a new feature in our app, there is a certain feature that needs to be implemented with different algorithm that makes the app that usually take 3 seconds when this button is clicked now become 5 seconds. So there's a problem. And then how are we going to solve that? So when you want to escalate issues to your manager, not just give them the problem with the detailed problem definition, but you also have to give solution options and then give recommendations of the things that you suggested the organization or the team needs to do, and you may want their approval. And be very data driven about this. And then, if you need support, decisions, let's say, to do this, we need to use tools from a vendor. Is it vendor A, vendor B, or vendor C? And then show them the data point. And let's say you prefer vendor B because the solution is better and the price is better. Make that as a suggestion, and then ask for the decisions. Do you need input? Do you need advice? And then do you need budget? Do you need resources? Do you need help? Clearly articulate the task. And then as action is that, okay, this is the problem, this is the solution options, and this is my recommendation. This is what I'm going to ask. And then you also need to, okay, if the support that I was asked is given, or the budget is approved, or the decision is given, then these are the next action items that I will do. So that when you want to escalate things to your manager. And then you also need to understand that your manager will also report to a manager. So in my case, let's say I'm CTO, report to CEO. CEO will report to the board. So you need to also understand who are the manager of your manager, so that you know the expectation of the manager of your manager, and then you can play a role on how you support him or her to become successful when he wants to deliver results to their manager. Next, Now it's about managing your peer or managing lateral. In next slide. So this is your peers. As I said, in my case, it's the other C-level in Dana. In your case, maybe in your team, there will be several developer lead or several data science lead. Yeah. So these are basically others around you where you don't have formal authority. So they don't report to you. They're just other team members. Sometimes in other department, they are in UI, UX team or design team. They are in product team. They are in data engineering team that build ingestion scripts. They're not a data science, but you need to work with them. So step zero to become successful, to work with your other peers that are also uh, the same level with you, is you need to become reliable and trustworthy for them. So in organization, usually there are virtual team, yeah, tribes, yeah, that is consists of. So let's say there is a tribe for payment, there is a tribe for lending, there's a tribe for investment, tribe for insurance, or any tribes in any organization. What you need to know that there are many different roles from different format organization in these different tribes. So there will be a cross division, cross department work together to achieve a goal, and you need to work with others. So if it's in the military, maybe it's the army, the navy, and the air force need to work together to win the war, as an example. So yeah, you need to get to know them. You need to get to know your peers. You get to know them in person, uh, and then understand what is actually their role in the organization, what are their objectives, what are their goals. You need to have this clarity, and then you need to create the graph or the link of dependencies. Do you need them to achieve your goal, or the other way around? Do they need your help to achieve their goal? How you can support them, or how they can support you. You need to also understand what value or strength or resources or constraints that you have, that you can offer as help for them, and the other way around. And then you just need to seek alignment and collaborations. Yeah, do they need you or your team help? If yes, help them. Or if it's the other way around, if you need their help, their support, then make the ask. Again, you can only do this if you have been seen as a reliable and trustworthy. So yeah, collaborate within your team, within your department, cross division, and so forth. As I put it there, to win the war, Army, Navy, and Air Force need to fight together. And then there are times that you even have to manage outside the company, manage customer, partners, outsourced, vendors, government organization, or if you will work with universities, academies, communities like Bangkit, and so on. So these are peers. Again, as a leader, you lead and manage down, lead and manage up, and lead and manage laterally. You need to know this reality, even if you are in university, so that you know when you're entering the workforce, these are the realities. That when we talk about leadership and management, it's not just about leading a team, but start with leading yourself. And then once you are there, not just leading your own team, but you need to also manage up and manage laterally. Next. Then let's talk about the key competencies. Yeah, these are some key competencies that you need to be aware of and you need to develop. Yeah, in order to become a successful field leaders, or the leaders in the forefront in the organization. So you need to be able to have skill set in directing others, how you can define and set objective, how you can distribute workloads. Maybe someone has too many workloads, and then you need to assign new tasks to the other workloads so that it will be more balanced, so that you can execute better as a team. Or maybe based on the skill set, based on the knowledge, Yeah, and then you need to be able to clearly articulate and communicate all these things so that you can really direct others on where to go, how fast you should go, how you should go about it. And then there will be situation when there are issues, there are blockers, teams are tired, burnout, there are challenges, there are blockers, and you need to ensure as a leader you remove that blockers. But you need to be able to create a good climate in the team, can motivate them, yeah, empower them so that they are consistently motivated and driven to execute to achieve the goal together. You need to be able to organize. You need to be able to marshal resources to get things done, orchestrate the activities, making plans, set objective, break down the works into smaller steps, define a schedule, timeline, break down the tasks, assignments, who are in charge of what is the timeline. So you need to be able to really define this planning. And then you may want to have the capabilities to understand, let's say, this might be a good developer, this might be a good data scientist. You may want to do hiring and staffing, how to hire and retain the best talent, assemble talented staff, how you build your own Avengers team in your team. So these are the skill set that is necessary. Managing through system, meaning that sometimes maybe you're not always around, but your team will still consistently driven, motivated to continue the work to achieve the results. Maybe by building a system like having an OKR or KPI that is clear, and then there is a certain checkpoint, there's a monitoring, observability, so that the team can just consistently move, uh, even where you're not present uh, there in front of them. And then as a leader, you need to understand that you are also a people builder. You need to develop others. You need to push them to be a better person. Sometimes maybe it seems like making it hard for them, but maybe it's necessary because they can really grow. Uh, you need to understand what are the strength and the weakness of each of your individual team member, and then how you can continue double down the strength and how you can improve the areas of their area for improvement or weakness so that they can be better. And then you need to understand that you need to also understand the formal channel and the informal network within the company or the organization, and use and leverage that to achieve the goal of your organization or your team. Next slide. Yes, the other important skill set. So again, leadership, yield inspiration and change, how you can inspire others. Management is about organizing, planning, optimization, efficiency. And then you can really do well in both and become a successful leader in managing down, managing up, or managing lateral if you have good communication and presentation skills. No debate, no discussions, no excuses. If you cannot communicate and present well, it will be super hard for you to become an effective leader or manager. It does not mean it got to do with being extrovert or introvert. It got nothing to do with that. An introvert can also be articulate and be able to communicate ideas in a systematic, cohesive manner, concise manner. So it got nothing to do with being an extrovert or introvert. There are just excuses. You can learn all this skill set. You can communicate well, or you cannot communicate well. So you need to learn and you need to acquire this skill set. And of course, in meetings as well. So you need to be able to do communication verbal, in writings, making presentations, in one-on-one settings, one to few settings in a meeting room, one to many settings. Let's say if you, let's say, like me as a CTO, I lead 500 people. That's one too many. So you need to be able to have that capability to articulate your ideas systematically, concisely, with confidence, with well articulation, with creating the clarity, and sometimes as needed, uh, you do storytelling with data. So that I really want to emphasize. To be able to communicate well, to articulate things well, will take you a long way. So this is a deadly skill set. If you really have this skill set, you can really become an effective leader or manager. And then there will be challenges, there will be difficulties, there will be adversity. So as a leader, you need to have that mental composure, the poised, uh, not hysterical, not paralyzed under pressure, how you can always be calm under fire. Yeah, this is something that can be learned. And then it's the adversity quotient. So there is IQ, how smart you are. There is EQ, emotional quotient, how you can control your emotions. And then there's this adversity quotient. So how you can deal with adversity or difficulties, or this is about resilience and anti-fragile. So these are the skill set that will be useful as a leader or manager. You may have heard that there are terms of uh, leaders at peacetime and leaders at wartime. So some people can really lead well when there is a peace situation, when there is no economic downturn, there is no fierce competitions, there is no issues. You can lead well, but during, let's say, fierce competitions in the market, then there is economic downturn, inflation, and so on and so forth. Sometimes people are just hysterical and get paralyzed. So uh, that mental composureness is needed there. Assertiveness is something that also needs to be have by a leader or a manager. Business acumen. So even though you are a tech person, you are a data scientist, you are a software engineer, but you need to understand what is actually the North Star metric of the company. What is the OKR? What is the KPI? What is the business goal? Is it revenue? Is it gross margin? What is the business model of the company? How your company make money? You need to understand all these things, because any effort that you do as a tech leader delivering technical results at the end of the day has to deliver the organization results or organizational outcomes. And then you need to be able to do managing trade-offs, make prioritizations, because let's say you have a team of 5, but then there are so many assignments that cannot be done by a team of 5. Then you need to make a prioritization. You need to execute things that are in high priority and kill or kick out things that are not in priority. You need to be able to do that trade-offs. And of course, continuous learning, so that you can always improve your skill set, tech skill set, or this other important skill set that I just mentioned, including the leadership and management skill set. Next slide. Yeah, so I'm going to summarize what you have learned today. The first one is leadership and management are two different things. Yeah, you need to know that this skill set are not just applicable for people manager, but actually fundamentals for individual contributor. Lead and manage yourself first before you can effectively lead and manage others. Leadership yield inspiration and change. Management yields efficiency and optimization. Its methods, process, frameworks, organization, planning, and execution. Tech people has unique persona. Leading and managing tech people requires a unique approach. As an example, you need to be very technical yourself. If not, you will not get the respect of the tech people. So forget about it. It will not happen. And then you need to get to know them, get to know the human dynamics of each individual. And then when you talk about managing, it's not just managing down on the team that you lead, but you also need to manage up, and manage laterally. And then there are some key competencies you need to master as a people manager or field leader. And I think one of the things that I really want to emphasize is start with communication and presentation skills. That will take you a long way. And then there are some other skill sets to make you a more effective leader. I think that will be all. That is the content of my slide. Very sorry for the early glitch that happened today because the slide doesn't work with Chrome, doesn't work well with StreamYard, but we figured it out. We managed to actually deliver that. I hope what I shared this afternoon will be something that is useful for you in your learning and your journey in your career. Thank you very much. I think I give it back to the moderator, RJ, and then I think next will be a Q&A session.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Norman, for the presentation. Personally, I've found it really insightful and a really, really good deep dive down on what's currently needed for people just like our audiences here, including myself, on how to prepare to be a leader, accompanied with points of points that can be really practiced in our life. So I believe this session was great. I also have read the comments while you were presenting, and they were also most or if not all are positive feedbacks. And so maybe we can just jump out straight to the Q&A session. There are already 94 questions here. There's so many enthusiastic audience here. It's really, really great to hear. Okay, so I think we can pick the first question, and it is for Guardian Theo. Okay, so let me read it for you. Hello, Mr. Sasono. I want to talk about the inspire part. How as a leader, can I inspire someone on our team without appearing to just be a sweet talker?
So your reputation precedes you, right? So you need to build and have a certain reputation. So if you are well known, people knows you, it's easier to drive that. But if you don't, you need to first build that reputation, and starting from there, then people can be inspired by you. And then other ways is that sometimes if you don't have reputations yet, and you're just building, just start with actually really stepping up and do the things and execute. I give you an example. In my early days, when I was a software engineer in a company, everyone worked as a software engineer, and then I noticed that is something that is a bit off in our execution. So everyone code in their own style, in their own ways. So whenever we move people around between projects, we find hard time to actually code something because when we read the code, we're not familiar with the style, how the variable are named, the flows, and so forth. So it's just difficult. And then I see that as an inefficiencies. And then without even being assigned by my dev lead, my manager, or my head of engineering, VP engineering back then, what I did was I created coding guidelines that everyone would need to follow. So during the weekend, outside of work, I try to build the documentations and then create these coding guidelines. Back then, I think we were using C#. And then this coding guidelines, I just hand over to my manager. And then another case is when we have to do read and write to database, right? And then there are many ways people are doing it. The code is object oriented while the database is relational. So there is a gap and we need to use object relational mapper. And back then, when I was working with .NET, there was no object relational mapper in the market. So again, during the weekend, outside of my day-to-day work, I'm building a library a framework of object relational mapper in C Sharp, and I show that to my manager. And then I demonstrate to my team, hey, actually, you can do this better if you use this object relational mapper. It's a same standard way of accessing and reading and writing to database. It will make your job faster. And then once they try, they like it. And then they're from that of the me stepping up, doing things on the weekend, building coding guidelines, building object relational mapper that is even not assigned by the manager. People will see like, okay, Norman is into something that is so cool that what he's working on, that drives inspiration. So then when we want to enhance or extend this or manage this coding guidelines or this object relational mapper, uh, when there's actual assignments to do that, the teams are energized and inspired, and they are really driven. Okay, let's make the POC scale that Norman built to a whole new production grade library, so that we can really deploy that in production. So that's how you create inspiration. So I think it's just about stepping up and take action first and do that, so that people will see and then they will be inspired. So it's not just about talk, it's about you actually step up and do something, and people will see, and then they will follow.
Okay, Mr. Man, thank you for the answer. And so basically, to sum up, what we need to do to inspire is to not just talk, but to do and to take initiative first. Okay, but I think before we move on to the next question, I want to ask you a follow-up question, and it is on what if the team members, even though we have already taken initiative before, they seem to not like us in some way and ended up not following us. Maybe they see us as some kind of hypocrite or maybe other bad things. How will you manage that?
Sorry, come again. Can you rephrase that?
Okay, so basically, let's say after you did like what you did on building documentations, building guidelines, what if there are still some team members that don't follow those guidelines or documentations?
Oh, okay.
Approach them.
So yeah, you don't get buy-in from some people, right? So
Yes.
yeah, that may happen. So there are a few things that you can do, and then we can start with communications. Have a conversation with this particular person. So what's actually stopping them to actually be supportive on this initiative? Understand their concern. And just be open and frontal with him, and then let's understand the concerns, and then let's address the concern. So I think it's about that. And of course there may be other things like, in real world thing can become competitions or something that is political, but that's a whole different conversation altogether. But the point is, you step up, you execute, you deliver results. If there are non-believers or naysayers, there will always be ones. So be it. Just navigate through it. And then the most important thing is that you're trying to do your best to deliver results to the team.
Okay. Thank you for your answer. Okay, I think we can go to the next question asked by the Q&A. Okay, and it's from Shalomita. Mr. Norman, do you think there's a difference in leading a startup that already runs for a while, or maybe already settled, and a newly established one? What leadership qualities we need to implement in each situation?
Okay, so I got lucky. I have the luxury to see the whole spectrum. So I have an experience working with big mothership company like Microsoft with hundreds of thousands of employees. It's very big, very structured. And then I also got an experience building startups as co-founders in bootstrap startups with only a couple of people in the team. And then I also got an experience in other startup that I co-founded that is more scalable. We had up to 100 engineers back then. It was backed by venture capital. And then I'm also now in Dana, where we are a more established startup, already scaling up. We have 145 million users. So these are the spectrum, and there is a silver lining. There's a commonalities. There are also differences in each of these different companies. So different companies in different states at different size, even in business vertical, may have different needs of leadership persona. So the simplest way is this: in the early stage startup, you may need a roll-up slave leaders or tech leaders that may also uh, really do the coding, push to repo. Basically, is a dev lead. So, and things in early day startup are very chaotic. There are no such things as SOPs. There are no processes. Everything is just chaotic. Uh, yeah, everyone just need to do everything. So not everyone is capable to thrive in that kind of situation. As the organizations get bigger, there will be more SOPs, there is more systematic, there are more people there. The expectation is also different. So there are people that actually do very well where things are not chaotic, when SOPs are all very well defined and they just execute. On the other way around, these people, if we put this certain persona in the early stage startup, yeah, he may not be effective. He may be hysterical. Why it's so chaotic? He may be paralyzed and cannot do anything. The other way around, there are people who really like the early stage chaotic startup, and we put them in the very well organized with SOPs kind of company. He will be also stressed because he cannot maneuver. He can actually, maybe he likes to actually put things in order in the chaos situation, but since everything is already in place, he or she cannot really uh, doing that like in the early stage startup. So different states, different companies may need a different persona, and some people can evolve, some just can't. So uh, probably the different thing is that in the early startup days is more chaotic, less process. In a more mature companies, it's very well organized. It's very well defined processes. And then another thing, let's say in the early days, let's say a tech leader may actually become just a dev lead that actually do the work. But if you are a CTO, let's say in a later stage companies where you have 500, 1,000 engineers, and you are still coding and pushing to the repo, that is also questionable. You should maybe really allocate those hours to do more other strategic work that you may want to focus on. So there is a difference. And then in smaller companies, maybe you just lead 5, 10, 15 people where everyone may just report to you. But then in big companies, like I said, in my case, I have 500. There is no way 500 people reports to me. So I have 8 direct reports, the VPs that report to me, and each VPs has their own responsibilities: back-end engineering, front-end engineering, data center, security, data, and so on. So each of these pillar will have their own layer. So in the early stage startup, maybe everyone reports to you, everyone doing everything. In more mature companies, there will be layers of leadership, and you may do more delegations to each of the team. And then yeah, so that is the spectrum. You need to really understand, and you need to know yourself where actually you are naturally more preferable to be in. Like, you prefer in a chaotic early days startup where you can actually be the one that push things in order, or do you prefer to be in a situation where everything is well established and you just need to focus on the things that you do without ever to worry or have headache about putting things in order?
Okay, thanks, Mr. Omar, for the insight on new startups versus established startups. Okay, I think we can also go on to the next question, and it is from Andreas Tanail. How to encourage our teammates to work as a team, not as an individual? Because many people have their own ego, and it is difficult to encourage people to work on a team.
Yeah, we touched that briefly during the presentation. So sometimes there are rock stars that are so good in what they are doing, and they think that they're the man that drive the most results from the team. And yeah, we need to manage well so that we can deliver the optimal results, because we also don't want to like shut down the potential of this rock star to really shine. But at the same time, we also need to ensure that everyone is work collaboratively as a team. So I think it's just go back to have that clear communications, set the expectation, have a one-on-one with these rock stars, and then define your expectations, how she should work together as a team, and then maybe can put a certain assignments that are complex, that are difficult to this person, but then ensure he also contribute and help the other every in the team, because um, yeah, if this rock star is really toxic, it's better not to have him in the team as well. So uh, as a leader, we need to be able to make that call as well.
Okay, thank you for the clarification on this teammate thing. Okay, I think we can also move on to the next question. I think we have. Oh, Doni Wirawan, can you share an example of a particularly challenging logistical situation you faced in your career, and how were you able to successfully navigate it?
Yeah, there are many challenging situations that I faced, of course. From things like, let's say, we need to make a decisions that we need to fire non-performer or someone that has issues, that yeah, basically when we have to fire someone from the team, it's challenging to have that conversation as well. So that is one area. So again, back to that, you need to be able to be assertive, you need to have the necessary communication skill, you need to be able to have the poise as a leader, and so that yeah, you don't feel gak enakan. Yeah, so just be assertive, communicate well, make that clarity. So that is challenging. So not everyone can really do that well. That is maybe also not really a big thing. There are other challenges, like maybe there are conflicting situations, like uh, yeah, especially if you are in the middle, and then there are directions from the top, and then there are demand from the bottom, from the team. So you kind of like sandwich in between these two, and then yeah, you need to navigate that well as well. uh, what is actually the most challenging, that most of the time is from my experience, is about something that deals with people. So people related issues. I can come up with one particular example at the moment. I need to think through about it. I'll get back to you, and I will share later. But there are many challenging leadership situations. So leadership is about inspiring. Just like what you said, earlier that there are, let's say, a situation where I got no buy-in from a team member, and then there are situations where some of the team member are burned out, they are so tired, they are unmotivated. There are situations where, let's say, I have direct reports that report to me, and they have a conflict and friction between them, the two. And then there are situations as well where uh, there is no clarity, let's say, from the upper leadership, that we need to navigate. There are also situations where we need to communicate hard things to the team. So many of those challenges, not necessarily technical, not necessarily about the business, not necessarily about the organizing, the management aspect of things, but many of the most challenging leadership situations are related to people. So that's why, as I put in the presentation, understanding of human dynamics, understanding the individuals, and communication skills are very key in leadership role, because you may really want to employ those skill set in many leadership situations that are mostly related to people.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Man, for your answer on this. Okay, I think we can also go to the next question from Nancy Lailana. Hello, Mr. Norman. Did being a CTO require you to have a multi-skill profile, and what was your first step in understanding different fields in tech?
Yeah, good question. So I came from software engineering background, okay, and I came from the server-side programming. I have no clue on mobile or Android or iOS, and then I have somewhat exposure to work on the analytics part, like data warehousing and business intelligence. But then I don't know much about the infrastructure side of the thing, about servers, about data centers, about network, and then I have understanding on security aspect that is related to coding, but not necessarily have a deep understanding on the aspect that is related to, let's say, infrastructure security, network security, operating system security. And then on data science work, I got a formal study and exposure, learning statistics, learning mathematics, learning neural network, machine learning, and have work around that as well. So in an organization, you can climb up the ladder from individual contributor, supervisor, manager, head, VP, and maybe eventually become a C level from one particular path. But as you move up and you have more responsibilities, you need to also understand the other fields that are related to you. So we hear this a lot, right? So we need to become a T-shaped people, like the the alphabet T, when you know enough of the breadth stuff, but you need to be knowledgeable and deep in one particular area. So I must say, maybe my deep area is around software engineering and software architecture. That's where I came from. That's how I built my career. But then as I move up, I learn the area that is near. But right now, I think I have enough exposure, understanding, and knowledge on the broader area that encompasses the infrastructure, network, data centers, cloud, data security, front-end engineering as well. So it's just about, you just need to learn. You just need to learn and understanding how it relates to you, how you will work and collaborate with others, what you provide to others, what others provide to you, how actually at the end of the day the systems collaborate together. So there is no way you become breadth and as knowledge that is breadth and depth of all the knowledge that is available in tech or digital systems. But then you need to know enough of the other field, but you need to have something that you know very deep.
Okay, thank you for the
And then
answer.
apa? And then don't don't be Mr. Know It All that act smart that you understand everything. Be humble, know that you don't know something, and then be humble to learn from others. Be humble to acknowledge that there are areas that you don't know much and you just have to learn about it.
Okay, thanks for the answer. Okay, I think we can also go to the next question. There's still so many left here. Okay, so from Indriani, do women have the same opportunity as men to become a leader? And what about the opinions of people who still think that men are better than women when it comes to leadership?
I think it got nothing to do with gender. If you can lead, then you can lead. If you cannot lead, then you cannot lead. The I think the problem, especially let's say in tech space, it's not because of men or women. It's just because the ratio of the number of people that comes from certain gender. So basically, there are just more men in the pool compared to women. And why is that? Why in the industry there are more male engineers than female engineers? Let's just go back to the university. Let's go back to the computer science and the science, tech, engineering, mathematics, and design majors. How many are the ratio of male versus female there? So basically, it's just the the funnel. I mean, the upper funnel has more male than female, and it just go down proportionally down the line. So it got nothing to do with gender, and so the opportunity is the same. It's equal opportunity for everyone. It doesn't matter. And then I just give you an example. Um, my VP of engineering in the backend engineering, her name is Nasha. She's a female, and she leads 200 engineers. So, and most of those 200s are male. And yeah, that is very possible. My direct reports also, her name is Vina. She's head of project manager. So she leads a team of tens of project managers that manage many tech projects in Dana. And many of these project managers are also male. And so that is possible. If you look at the composition of the C level in Dana, as an example, chief legal, chief people, chief audit, all female. So again, that got nothing to do with the gender. It's just whether you can lead or you cannot lead. As simple as that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Rahman, for your answer and also for your insights on the Dana team. And I believe this question is also good as we just remember the International Women's Day that happened last Wednesday. And I believe these stories that Mr. Rahman shared can be a motivation for women, especially women in tech, to go on and to also become leaders in the future. Okay, I think we can also go to the next question. From Alvin Prada, in my case, when I became the group, sometimes my group members weren't really good to get the job done. How can I organize my members well without leaving a bad impression?
So, yeah, sometimes the team member that you lead is given. You're not the one that composed the team member. It's because it's assigned, and then or you join a company, become a dev lead, and then there are already devs there, and then when you realize that, maybe oh, this guy's actually not really up there to your expectation. So you need to understand first each individual, their skill set, soft skill, tech skill, as well as their human dynamics, what motivates them. And then from there, you need as a leader, you need to be able to understand the gap of what is actually expected for the job, what are the tasks that needs to be done, what are the skill set required, and then where your team is it below, or is it there, or is it actually maybe above? If they are also above, that is also a risk, because they may think the assignments are no longer challenging and he will just leave the company and work somewhere else where they will feel more challenging. So as a leader, you will also need to push and give them challenges so that they can always improve themselves. And like I said in the presentation, leader are people builder, so you need to build the team skill set of each individual to become better, because if each individual are better, then the team will be better overall. So that you need to do, identify the skill set gap, and then as a leader, yeah, this skill set gap is one of the things that I said earlier, that can be a blocker for your team to actually execute. So you need to remove this blocker. Maybe you need to understand why the team cannot do the job well, why they cannot execute or deliver the result. Is it because of it's a new programming language that they never used before, or is it because of the tools that they are using is just ineffective, or do they have domestic issues at home, or are they sick? Many different reasons that can make team member not really performing, not good and getting the job done. As a leader, it is your responsibility to understand the why and then address the why, so that the team can really deliver. If it's about skill set, lack of training, figure out how you can provide that training for your team member. If it's about someone burnout, then maybe give him a break so that healing, and then he or she can come back stronger and fresh. So you need to understand those dynamics so that you can address it accurately.
Okay, thank you for your answer. Okay, so I believe we can go to actually the last question, and it is from Ading. This is actually an interesting one. So, if you were to go back to the age of 20, what would you tell to yourself in the past? And is there any advice for the younger generation now?
What would I tell myself in the past? Work harder, less lacking off. So,
Cool.
is there any advice for the younger generation now? I write a whole article in LinkedIn about that. You can just find me in LinkedIn, and there is an article that I feature there. It's about smart is not enough. So, the reason being is that I always think that being smart is everything. When you are smart, you get all set. Everything will be easy. You will just deliver. And you know, during my 20 plus career, I finally realized that being smart is actually not enough, because when I graduated high school, my grades were good. I even got perfect score in math. During my days, there was EPTANAS, the evaluasi ujian akhir nasional. So I got 10 out of 10 in math. So I thought I'm smart. Whenever there is an IQ test, I scored 146, 152, so on that range. So I think like, yeah, I'm smart. And then I went to uni. I studied physics. So not everyone even dare to take physics as major, because physics is intimidating and it's just super hard. It's a hard mathematics. And then I work as software engineer, another area that is actually super hard as well. So I always think that I got it all set. I'm smart. But then I begin to realize the result of the work in the professional work. Sometimes I begin to see that guys that I think less smart than me can deliver more and deliver better than me. So I kind of like, what's going on here? And then yeah, I basically realized that there are a few things, especially in today's world where there is internet that equalize everything. There is chat GPT that equalize everything. So now everyone is smart. So if you are smart, you're no longer special. There are a bunch of other smart guys out there that can be taken by the company to join the company. So don't think if you are smart, you are some uh, special snowflakes. Like you are so great. You're so special. You're not. You're smart. There are other smart people out there. It's just easy now to find smart people. And there is internet, there is Wikipedia, there is knowledge available, there is chat GPT. So everyone is equally smart now. Now the issue, if everyone is equally smart, is how you're going to compete. So who work the harder will win the competition because everyone is equally smart. So you cannot just rely about being smart. And then there are days when you feel so charged up, driven, and motivated to do the work, and then there are days when you don't feel like it. You don't really feel like aduh malas banget gitu ya, and then just want to chill, you just want to relax, and it's just so hard. You just not feel motivated at all. So I also learned that eventually what get us going is not motivation, it's discipline. So motivation may get you started, but what keeps you going is discipline. So don't rely on discipline. Don't rely on motivation. Rely on discipline. So when you have the discipline, you just go after it. Even if you're not feeling it, you just go because you just have to do it. You need to drive yourself. And then the other part of the thing is there are situations where there will be storm, there will be adversity and difficulties. So the other skill set that is required is about resilience. It's about you understand that there are things that are outside of your control and there are things that is within your control. You cannot calm down the storm, but you can calm yourself down in the storm. So you need to really understand that. So if as I said, if everyone is smart to win the competition, you need to work harder than everyone else. And then don't rely on motivation because it fades out. After hearing this talk of me, maybe you will be supercharged, super motivated. But then after a couple of weeks from now, I think it will be gone anyway. That this motivation that you get from this talk will be just diminished and gone. What you need is not motivation. What you need is the discipline to go after it every single day and just push and drive yourself. And then number three, yeah, realize that there are things you cannot control. You just need to accept it and focus on the things that you can control, and then bounce back. It's not about toughing it out that you will never fall down. It's okay to fall down, but it's about how you get back up again. You know, I like this quote from Mike Tyson. Everyone has a plan until they got punched in the face. So in work, in life, you will be punched in the face so many times. It's all right. So it's not that whenever you get punched, you don't want to be knocked out. Sometimes you got knocked out, but it's about how you get back up again after you get a punch in the face. Sometimes it's not a punch in the face; it's a kick in the teeth. That happens. So it's just okay. Dust off, get back, reload, re-engage. So that's what you need to do. That's kind of drive. And if you can really drive that work ethic of work hard, relying on discipline and not motivation, and really focus on things and that you can control and you can be resilient and bounce back. If you can do that to yourself, then you can do the same to your team. So you cannot have a team that will work hard, that are disciplined, that are resilient, if you yourself are not working hard, are not disciplined, and are not resilient. So again, this is hard. This is, yeah, some will say it's males banget ya. So it is hard. It is difficult because the reality is it is. So there is no way you can just slacking off, chilling out, and you expect to achieve greatness and results. No, everyone out there work hard. Everyone is competing, and then um, yeah, you just need to really be in charge of yourself to do all this work hard, discipline, and be resilient. If you cannot be in charge or in control of yourself, and you expect you can be a leader that going to be in charge and drive and move muscles of other people when you cannot even move your own muscle, forget it. You will not become a leader at all. So you need to really start from yourself, try from yourself, then you can influence and drive other and create inspiration to others. Yeah. Again, it's not easy, but that is why we want to take this role. That's why we want to step up. That's why we want to take action. That's why we want to be leader, because it's not easy. Because if it is easy, any joker in the streets can do this. So it will not need us. It will be just everybody able doing it, because it is hard, it is difficult. Not everyone can do it. That's what actually intrigued me and triggered me to, okay, I want to do that. Yeah. So I think that may be the advice that I will give to 20 years old me and the young generation now. Yeah. Be in charge of yourself, and then, yeah, work hard, be disciplined, be resilient. As cliche, as boring as it is, but if you don't do that, you will lose. As simple as that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Rahman, for your advice. And that will close out our Q&A session. Apologies for people who whose questions are not answered in session because we actually don't have time. So I think I'm going to close out the session. So to sum up what we learned today, we learned about leadership, why leadership is necessary, the differences between leadership and management, how to know your team members, knowing that managing is not just managing down, but also up and laterally, and also some other key competencies for leaders and managers alike. And I really hope that the insights that Mr. Norman gave us today will be very, very, very beneficial for all of our future today. Thank you for attending session. Thank you so much, Mr. Norman, for sharing with us today. I really appreciate you sharing your time with us in and all of the Bangkit cohorts. And I think that is all that I have to say. Once again, I thank you so much for attending the session, and I hope you guys well, and happy weekend, and stay healthy.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Rahman.